Hey, I think we're actually live streaming. I think this is actually happening now.
Gotta love technology.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Okay. Here we go. Matt Haselhoff and I are doing the Thirsty Thursday live stream, coming to you live every Thursday on our LinkedIn channels, on our Popcorn GTM's YouTube channel, on X. So I'm here with Matt of OGC, and every week we're going to have new guests, new operators, new industry thought leaders, answering 5 questions, getting real answers in 30 minutes. And we're going to be doing that all while drinking our favorite beverages. Matt, man, good to see you, bro. I'm going to...
Dude, it's been a while.
Girl.
We did, well, I'm doing, dry January still. So I'm not as exciting, but I do have a virgin margarita.
For an Iowa football player, I'm mildly disappointed in you. But at the same time, I'm also very proud of you.
What is today? The 22nd? Yeah. 22nd. 22 days without booze.
Dude, yeah, that...
How about them apples?
Yeah, how about them apples? How about them apples, man? Good for you. I'm psyched for you. So, Thirsty Thursday. I love this idea that we had. We're going to try to make it real. Podcasts are cool, but guess what? They're so 2025. And it's not to say that, podcasts don't have their place, because they do, and they're awesome, because the reality is that you love learning from people from different backgrounds and different experiences. But the thing about live stream is that it's just more like in the moment,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's a ton of podcasts. What I love about Thirsty Thursdays, or what I think we're going to love, is that, we're, as your point was, we're getting real. It's 30 minutes or less. It's 5 questions. Yeah. It's not pre-scripted. It's about what the operators want to talk about. And that might be technology. It might, maybe it's labor. Maybe it's,
maybe it's the Patriots.
It could be the Patriots. My beloved Bears are out, but that's okay.
And that would have been cool.
That would have been awesome. A little kickback to 1985 would have been fantastic. But no, but I think this is going to be a fun, podcast, live webinar, whatever you want to call it, but something a little bit different. Short,
it's a little bit different. It's something a little bit different. So let me just start off, because listen, this is, I just want to share what I'm drinking here. This is special. This is from Lord Hobo, really the pride of Woburn, Massachusetts.
Can you spell that?
Woburn. New England, as we like to say, Woburn, the pride of Woburn. And if you remember that movie with John Travolta back in the 90s or whatever, Civil Action, where it was the water contamination civil lawsuit. Yeah. Welcome to Woburn.
Oh, nice.
Lord Hobo.
Hopefully that's been
recommended. New England IPA. And you're drinking what, milk?
No, virgin margarita.
Virgin margarita.
Substitute tequila for Sprite. Yes. Exciting. Right. But I did put hot sauce in it, so it's spicy.
Good. All right. So let's start off, Matt, let's kick off with a question that we would ask a guest. And, we're going to have operators on, we're going to have industry thought leaders. This is really a live stream for the people. But Matt, what's a current trend in your mind that you think every operator should be paying attention to right now?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, because to be honest, 2025 was not spectacular. It was actually, I've talked to a few people in the industry. They're actually saying that 2025 was maybe one of the worst years in our industry, going all the way back to 2020 during the pandemic, and as far back as 2008 with the economy turning down. So it's been a challenging year in 2025. The good news is our industry is pretty damn resilient.
Yeah, it is. People at least 3 times a day, right?
Yeah. If there's one industry that's going to weather the storm, it is definitely the restaurant and hospitality sector. Yeah. What I'm seeing is a couple things. You've got a lot of people are much more health conscious. Obviously, I'm doing the dry January for health reasons. Want to feel better. But there's a whole segment of individuals out there that frankly don't drink period. And what we're seeing is a lot of people are going to mocktails. And personally, I think if a restaurant's going to survive, they've kind of got to embrace that and actually have some mocktails that people want to have. A lot of people think a mocktail's punishment because you don't want alcohol. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. So I see a lot of that actually in the town I live in. There is a actual bar that does not serve alcohol, and they have really good
mocktails,
cocktails,
non-alcoholics.
Yeah. So I think you've got to really, brands got to pay attention to that. And the other thing I'm seeing a lot of, I personally see a little bit of a shift from QSR and fast casual to more casual dining. I see a lot of people starting to get back into the sit down restaurants, because what's happened is the price gap between QSR and fast casual and just regular casual or full service dining, that gap has shrunk quite a bit as far as cost is concerned.
Right.
Now, with that said, I've had multiple people say that the way to really thrive, turn out a good product, make a really good product. And when I say that, it doesn't mean you have to have this mound of food that is completely, taking over your plate. People do want portion control, but they want it good. So I think a lot of operators are going, people are not able to consume all that food. So, back years ago, people sitting there going, well, I want, they wanted the value. They wanted all this food. They wanted the value. It's changed a little bit. When people see value differently, they want a good product.
That's right. I think that you speak about value. And I think, so one of the things I believe you're alluding to, is the GLP-1 trend, and it's real, right? So, just even flipping through the channels last weekend, on TV, I was flipping through and I stopped on Skirmonish on CNN. He's a talking head on CNN, and it's not a show I generally watch very often, but I saw that they had this industry analyst on there, this woman, Ali Furman. She's the head of consumer insights for PwC, and she had a quote, and I wrote it down, and it actually is a subject matter of a separate podcast I'm doing later. But Ms. Furman said, people on GLP-1s, which represent almost 20% of the population now.
Oh, God,
well, yeah, they are consuming about 40% fewer calories and are spending about 5% less at quick service restaurants. Mm-hmm. But here's the trick of this. Here's the thing. The GLP-1 customer is not necessarily eating out less. They're just eating differently.
Correct.
So the value, what a GLP-1 user sees from a value perspective is not necessarily the lower price so much as it is the performance of the meal, right? They're almost looking for performance meals.
Correct.
And I think that there's a lot of brands out there that are actually recognizing this moment. And we're seeing that in everything from Chipotle's, protein meals. We're seeing Shake Shack, has a wellness menu. Smoothie King, has a GLP-1 menu and a support website, literally like giving emotional support for these folks. So Starbucks, it's going in, and like you said, it's going into beverages. Starbucks, Dunkin', they're putting protein into their mix. Right. So that's something that I think is absolutely should be on everybody's radar. You need to create value through performance and quality, perhaps, right?
Yeah, people are not looking to go to a restaurant and get a half a chicken and a pile of mashed potatoes. And
yeah, it's not just like shrinking down the portion. It's making it more, I guess, nutrient dense. And I think the word performance meal is something that we're going to hear a lot more about in 2026. All right. Next question. And I think as we do these things, I want to do this kind of like PTI style, like a thing on the side, and we'll just kind of bring up the topics and we'll just tick it off. I'll be you could be Tony, and I'll be what's his name? So Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon. That's what we'll be.
Okay.
All right. So, how is your team helping restaurants adapt to the ever-loving digital expectations?
Wow. There's a lot to unpack right there. So what I would say is when I'm talking to operators, and it's funny because I just hung up with an operator just a little bit ago, and I've talked to several vendors and operators post NRF, and I can tell you the trend that I am seeing is a trend of going back to simplicity. Um,
Yeah.
let's be honest. I was just on with Sean Walchef and Rising Tides, and we were talking, and there's over 4,000
Yeah.
technologies out there. And listen, there's a lot of good ones, but from what I'm hearing is restaurants can't just buy every gadget. And they're truly going back to basics. We're even being told on kiosk, a lot of the bells and whistles that early on, like signing up for loyalty and running advertisements and upselling, all these things. But I'm hearing kind of the opposite now, where they're like, I just need a kiosk that someone walks up and they can put an order in. That's it. I don't need all the bells and whistles. And I think you're going to see a lot of, I'm going to call it truing up in the industry. I think a lot of brands are going to true up with their technology. They're going to get some really solid footing underneath them, and that's going to build positively into 2027, where I think once they get the base built again, they can start adding on to that. But I really think 2026 is, I'm calling it again, the truing up year.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. 2026, I think, is going to be there's going to be a lot of getting the blocking and tackling right.
Yep.
I think that a technology or a strategy that I think is going to really move the needle. What's going to move the needle for folks, particularly operators? I think it's like keeping promises, which means getting the order right and the timing right.
Mm-hmm.
The first time. The brands that are doing that are really focused on execution. I think that's what people want. I mean, I can't tell you. I really feel like, and maybe it's just, I don't think it's just like around me, but man, we really try. You place these orders online, and never mind, what marketplace you do it through, whether it be DoorDash or Uber Eats or the native app or whatever. When you get the food, you want it in a timely manner. You want it fresh. You want it hot. And damn it, you just want everything to be there.
Yeah.
Like
that's the whole purpose of why you went out.
Yeah. It's you're ordering like a family meal. And it's crazy already because, if you get, it's $19, $20 for a bowl of, nutrient packed, good food. And you're spending upwards of $70 for 5 people. And it comes in like, they got it wrong for your wife, or they forgot this. And it's like, it's such a blow, I just execution. We need to figure out the tech that really creates that really brings home the last mile on the whole thing.
I agree.
So let's actually, the next question I wanted to ask was kind of hinged on that. What could redefine the dining experience in 2026? What do you think is going to, what shift do you see? We talked a little bit about, we talked about GLP-1s. We talked about non-alcoholic.
I still say it's a shift towards in-store dining.
Okay.
And I may have a lot of people tell me I'm completely off my rocker on that. I say that because we as a society, globally actually,
Yeah.
We were all retrained back in 2020 that we don't need to go out. We can stay at home and order out or make our own meals and all of those things. Man, that only lasts so long. It's been, we're going on 6 years. I think people are wanting to get back out and actually have that dining experience. But again, the product has to be good. It's got to be a good product. And you got to set yourselves apart. I mean, you have to be different than that next person. That's why I say, if you're going to have a menu of mocktails, make it a real menu of mocktails, not one or two. Make it a bunch. And if you're going to have healthier dining, make it interesting. Make it different. Don't give me a piece of chicken breast.
How about this? Make it worth it.
Right.
And what that means is different to different people.
Yep. But that's the shift. I really do. I think you're going to see a bit of a shift for people going back indoors or in the four walls to eat. Now I say that, and in the same breath, you see this whole host of other restaurants, predominantly in the beverage space, that are actually shrinking their footprint. There's actually nowhere to go inside of the four walls. It is purely drive through and pick up only. And there is a spot for that. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, your traditional QSR fast casual, they're still going to thrive. They're going to be fine. But I just think there's going to be that little bit of a shift to go back to in-person dining.
I think I agree. I mean, we saw that in 2025 with the success that Chili's has had and other, other family casual dining. And I think that there are, larger sort of economic reasons at play. The least of which is the cost of labor. You could say, this is one of these things, and I brought this up from time to time in other pods, but it still kind of blows my mind that more people aren't talking about how McDonald's of all places, McDonald's, I guess the flag bearer of our industry in so many ways, decides to leave the National Restaurant Association. And they do that for all, part and parcel because of the NRA's position on, no tax on tips, right? And so it's the labor. McDonald's really believes it's an uneven playing field for the restaurant industry, whereas there's a portion of the industry that could, pay their employees extremely low wages and have them live off tips.
Yep.
Whereas QSR, McDonald's and the Wendy's and the Burger Kings of the world and many others, they have to pay full tilt to their employees. And, this isn't a political show by any stretch of the imagination, but there's this discrepancy between what Chili's can do. What is it? The big promotion they have with the Big Mac kind of ripoff, right? $11 basically, you can sit down, get a burger, fries, and a drink served to you.
Right.
And I go, you go through the drive-through at McDonald's and it's like $12.99 for a two cheeseburger value meal.
Right.
Right.
No, you're spot on. I've had a lot of conversations this morning. It's kind of weird. Not that I don't have a lot of conversations, but one of the conversations I had was around this, and it wasn't actually about minimum wage or any of that, but it was really about the entire cost of running a restaurant, because we were talking about POS integrations and all of these things. And, I think we really got to get to a space where we're able to provide technology services without gouging the hell out of the brands. Because, like I said, one of the conversations I just had today was about POS integration. And I told them, I go, listen, the POS companies a lot of times are going to charge you a fee, and it varies for the actual integration. And then they may charge you for the actual certification. And they may charge you also for a per location, per month fee. And I go, And I get that. Everybody's in business and you have to make money. The problem is, I think we've lost sight that guess who's actually paying all that? It's the consumer.
Right.
And when all this stuff finally trickles down to the consumer, that's what happens. That's why your McDonald's, is doubled in cost. Their labor almost doubled. A lot of the technology they're putting in there, is I mean, I'm not going to say McDonald's does their homework more than most.
Well,
A lot of people get sold on some technology that they get a year into it and they look back and they go, man, I don't know if there was even a positive ROI in there. And that's money that they've already had to pass on to the consumer or eat themselves.
right.
Neither one, by the way, is any good. So again, that's why I keep talking about a lot of restaurants getting back to truing up and getting back to simplicity.
That's right.
I've had a bunch of conversations telling me a lot of people are saying that almost half of all brands right now are looking in 2026 to potentially make a POS change. Half. That's a huge number.
That's a huge.
I don't know if I believe that.
And a massive undertaking.
Massive undertaking. So yeah.
Well, this is good. I think this is our. Let me wrap this up with one last question, and then as we're coming up on time here, and this is our inaugural run, and
it'll get better from here, is what
it'll get better from here. This probably isn't even recording. Who the hell knows? We'll see. But let's leave it on this. Tell us something about your brand that most people don't know. I mean, OGC. I know a lot of people will know what OGC is. You're a product rep firm. You have a bunch of different really great vetted technologies that your company is representing.
Yeah.
But tell me something about OGC that some people don't know.
Yeah, listen, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, hey, congrats and good for you on starting your own company or brilliant idea you've had or whatever. What I've told all of them. So some people know, not all people know, but I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, I completely fell into this unknowingly, quite frankly.
Yeah.
This was never the intent of being what OGC has become. It really wasn't. This was a stopgap as I was looking for my next home, and little did I know I was going to make my own home. And what I love about it, what do they say? Copying is the best flattery for
best form of flattery. Yeah.
I am
imitation is the best form of flattery.
Thank you. There are a lot of people out there kind of doing similar things to what I'm doing, and God bless. I mean, I think fractional is not going anywhere. I think it'll actually grow quite a bit. I'm seeing it a ton outside of our industry where people are wearing multiple hats. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the probably the big thing for me is most people just don't know that I didn't dream this up overnight and voila.
Well, I'll follow that up then. What's something that they might not know about my brand? And my story is very similar to yours, as you know. You were at Omnivore for many a moon, while I was at Crunch Time for many a moon. And at the end of my run at Crunch Time, and things were getting, we were going into transition, and it was my CEO that Bill Bellissimo who recommended to me, you should do your own thing. You should have your own agency. And I was kicking and screaming, incredibly reluctant to follow that advice, mostly because I didn't know what the F I was getting into or what I was doing. And this is I don't know, November of 2021. And, I'm so thankful that, he, Crunch Time became my first client and helped ease the transition and soften the landing, so to speak, which is so kind of them. But it's funny when you say, fractional is growing. And here's the thing, everybody kind of wants to, run away from the house and join the circus. And you get all the way down the street, and maybe you make it to the stop sign. Maybe you make it a little bit around the corner.
Yep.
And then things start getting real. And I think it's for those that are thinking about joining the circus, do it. Give yourself a shot. Chances are you have something really of value and uniqueness that you can bring to the industry, and there's a lot of room for everybody. And because of the fact that we are in volatile and uncertain times, we need all of the brain horsepower we can get to help operators, to help technologies, to move this whole thing forward. All right.
I agree.
So, dude, honor, privilege to always do that. Listen, man, I work with you every day.
I was going to say, this is not new for us.
This is not new. This is
what I promise next time. Well, wait, not next time. The time after that will be in February. I'll have a beer or some other.
Good. But we've got professionals coming on from restaurant brands you know and love, from media publications that you know and love. We've got a pretty good lineup that is coming up. We've got I don't want to jinx it, but we've got good peeps.
Yeah, we do.
We legit. So, all right, brother. Let's end this thing, and cheers to you.
Giddy up.
Giddy up.
Don't take a nap, by the way, after that. That put me asleep.
No, we have actually, I've got meetings, and I've got one coming up in a half an hour. So.
I got one in 9 minutes.
All right. All right, rock on, brother. Ciao.
Talk to you.
Hey.